I'm Robert Evans, Sony Artisan of Imagery. In this video, you will learn about my favorite features of Sony cameras and the camera settings I use, especially with multiple cameras. About 4 years ago, I just started hearing this Sony buzz, and I really wanted to try the cameras. So I got a hold of one, I started shooting it, and right away I just noticed these features like the Wi-Fi on the camera and the electronic viewfinder and the dynamic range in the sensor. Shooting a Sony camera today, I just feel like I have that much more above my competition. I'm that much better of a photographer because of the features that I have at my fingertips in these cameras, such as being able to send an image right to a client in a second or to a wedding planner. The dynamic range in the sensor is just absolutely amazing. It's like shooting film. I can expose for the shadow and I can let the highlight blow out just like I could with film. I love the articulating screen, and I love the ability to be able to hold the camera above my head during a group dance at a reception or a hora at a Jewish wedding, and actually be able to look up and frame my shot instead of just tilt the camera and guess where the action might be. I can just use that articulating screen and make sure that everything's framed perfectly. So some of the really important things to think about prior to photographing your wedding, especially when you're working with second shooters or even more, first and foremost is time syncing your cameras. You want to make sure that all your cameras are set up to the right date and the right time so that in post later it's easy to sync the images together and they all flow throughout the day and you can see exactly when they're happening. And I'm always traveling to different time zones, so it's very important to make sure that we are time synced. Just as importantly as your time sync, of course, is always check image quality, meaning are you shooting in RAW, RAW plus JPEG, JPEG, whatever your preference is. I always have to go through and do that because I'm not always shooting my cameras for weddings. One of the unique functions to Sony cameras is that you can set up your own copyright info. So you can go into the camera menu and you can put your name, copyright at Robert Evans, and that will show up on all the files no matter where it shows in the XF data. One of the features I like to use is continuous numbering. So it continues to number the files even as I change cards. So at the end of a wedding day, I don't want 4 sets of files if I use 4 cards with the same numbering. Another thing is you can custom set your file names. So I set my file numbers up so I know exactly which camera that is. So for instance, the first 3 letters I could have A7R. You know, you can't put the 2 in there, but I know which camera it is. A63, I know which camera it is. A7S, I know which camera it is. When I have the images in Lightroom, I can choose images from that particular camera. Another feature is folder by date. For example, I mentioned that I keep my RX104 with me in the car or in my pocket. I might shoot that camera for a week. So when I take out the card and I put it in the computer to download it, there'll be folders listed by the date that I took those images over that week. Another great little bonus about the electronic viewfinder on the Sonys is the Sony allows you to set up different grid views. So the one that I choose is the rule of thirds because that's how I compose and use composition when I'm shooting. So it makes it that much easier to put things in thirds or center or however I choose to frame it. In this video, you learned about my favorite features of Sony cameras and the camera settings I use, especially with multiple cameras.